The problem is not that you're not saving. That's not the problem right now. If you are battling with your finances, no. The problem is not that you are not saving. The problem is deeper than that you are not saving. The problem is that you are living above your means. Why are you living above your means? What is the cause for you to live above your means? Okay, how do we fix that? Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Actionable. So we're filming this video just after work. It is our time. It's actually after 6:20 past 6, and we're filming this. You know what, I've decided that, you know what, if I'm going to film content, I need to just film it, you guys. And I'm hoping that the video quality is going to come out okay, because I'm honestly trying. I'm doing the best with what I have. I'm going to invest in lighting, but for now, because we are not there yet, we are just going to use what we have. But I'm hoping that this is going to come out okay. If you guys see this video, that means that I was happy with the quality, means that I was happy with the lighting. Ne? So I want us to continue with the series that we started. On the first video, we spoke about why is it that I feel that paying yourself first does not normally work. And there, you guys, I just want to emphasize this. This was not to say that stop saving. This was not to say saving is not wise. But this was an encouragement for people who are intentional in working towards their finances. But then when they look at what is being spoken about in the financial space or in the financial education, there's a whole emphasis on paying yourself first. And thus they feel the pressure that they are not doing enough because they are not able to save, you know. And so it was just to say that for you, if right now in your finances you can only meet your needs, you can only meet your debts, pride yourself with that and take that. Because what you will do is, what happens is, when we start learning about finances, when we start exposing ourselves to financial education, we tend to make some mistakes. And that is what I want us to speak about today, that when we are not clued up about our finances, there are mistakes that we make. But there are also mistakes that we do not talk about. The mistakes that we do when we start learning about our finances. And majority of the time, we make those mistakes because we feel the pressure, because we feel like we're not doing enough. Because when we read Rich Dad Poor Dad, it makes us feel like we are not doing enough as people, or as people who work, who earn an income. When we listen to financial education, when we listen to all of these things, it feels like we're not doing enough. It feels like if you're not saving this amount, if you're not saving 10,000, that means you're not doing enough. If you're not saving 5,000, it means you're not doing enough. If in your account or in your investments are doing like this, then you're not doing enough. So we always feel this pressure to want to do more, to an extent whereby we end up making a lot of mistakes. And I found myself making those mistakes as well. And I want us to talk about that in this space, you know, so that we advise each other. As I've grown in my financial journey, I've learned to be more critical. I've learned to be more analytical and not just take everything at face value. That is why I also want to just emphasize this. Do not take this as financial advice. It is just me sharing my own insight, my thinking, but please be mindful that it is my thinking. You still have to go back and apply your mind, you know, criticize certain things that do not make sense to you, and make sure that you do your own research first before you do anything. So let us get into the point of this video. So as I said, the mistakes that we do when we do not know much about finances, and then the mistakes that we do when we start learning about finances. And I'm going to touch on both. Ne? I know that as you are watching this, you might be falling within these two categories. Someone who is not that very much clued, someone who's not very much clued up when it comes to personal finances and is looking to grow. And you might find that you're a person who's on the other side, where by now you are financially clued up and you're looking at ways of improving your finances. And so this video is going to be touching on both sides. So let's speak about the mistakes that we make when we do not know much about our finances. Some of the mistakes that I made, some of the mistakes that I saw myself making a lot, was just over committing. You know, the moment I got the job and I had the pay slip, I found myself over committing. Before I made a decision, I was not calculative. I would not sit down and actually look at what does this mean for my finances on a month-to-month basis. Am I really going to survive on this? And so I found myself overcommitting. I found myself getting into more and more debt and not being mindful with that debt that I was getting into, because in my mind I was not taking the time to actually reflect on, can I really afford this long term? I was just looking at the installment and not thinking about the interest rates, not thinking about the fact that you are now adding on other debts that you have. What does it mean on your finances? It led to a majority of my income being taken away by debt, and I felt like I started feeling like I was working backwards instead of forward. And this is where most people find themselves. They find themselves making certain mistakes about their finances because they're not being calculative, because they do not understand personal finances. They do not understand the things that they're getting into. In their mind, they're focused on, this is what I want. I want it when, I want a car and I want this type of a car right now. Doesn't matter whether can you really afford all of the cost that comes with owning a car. It does not matter. I want a credit card now because I want to fix my credit. I want to build my credit score. And a person does not even understand the role of a credit card or how to manage a credit card. And so they find themselves owing a credit card now, where they've exhausted all the money. Now they have to pay the minimum. Even those minimum, they're still struggling to maintain the payments of those minimum. A person will put in money today, they got paid, they put in money in there, and then 2 weeks later they're going back to use all of that money. I'm saying that because that's the lifestyle I lived. I would put money into my credit card, and then a week later, not even 2 weeks, a week later, I'll be going back to that credit card, tapping into it and using that money, because my money was no longer enough to cover all of my needs. And so you might find that you are in that position right now where you are using debt to sustain your life. And if you look at it, you might find that you made that decision not being fully informed. You thought you were making a wise decision, but because you are not calculative and you're not understanding the thing that you are getting into, now you find yourself over indebted. Those are some of the things that we find ourselves getting into. And so if you want to start fixing your finance, when you start being intentional with your finances, you first have to fix the first layer of just exiting that phase of living paycheck to paycheck. And for you to start exiting that, it starts with you understanding some of the financial mistakes that you have made so that you do not repeat those same mistakes. Now that we have spoken about the mistakes that people make when they do not know much about personal finances, now let's look at the mistakes that people make when they start learning about money. The first thing that happens is when we start learning about how money works is that we overindulge in financial content. We consume content in terms of videos, podcasts. We also consume content in terms of books. And then as we are consuming this content, we are consuming content from different perspectives. And I'm going to be honest with you. We consume content from different perspectives, people sharing their own understanding. And because we haven't reached that level of financial maturity of being able to decide for ourselves if something is good for us or not, we end up feeling so much pressure that we are not doing enough, that we need to be doing more. And thus we end up making decisions that are not good for us, that are not good for our long-term financial health. When I remember the days when I started to just learn about personal finances and how exciting it was, I honestly felt like I was behind. My leg. I honestly felt like I was behind. I felt like I wasn't doing enough. I felt like I was failing to a certain extent. And so I felt like I needed to catch up. And so I found myself doing a lot of things in a mode of catch up. But instead of catching up, I was going back more and more. I was going back more and more because I was not prioritizing the fundamentals. I was not prioritizing the basics. I was not fixing the basics. And those are the things that most people avoid when they start learning about finances. They start feeling like they know a lot, and so they do a lot. I don't know if I'm making sense. Because you have read all of these books, you've consumed all of this content, investing, crypto, pay yourself first, do all of these things, you end up doing a lot. and neglecting the things that are going to actually push the needle, the things that are actually going to propel you forward. And I had to come to terms with that and actually understand that, no, man, relax. Pace yourself. These are things that you need to start fixing. And that is why I started this series, because I want us to move in phases, to understand that as much as you are intentional in working on your finances, there are certain things that you must not jump. There are certain things that you need to fix. You need to fix that foundation first before you can continue forward. The second thing that we make when we start learning about finances is obsession on making money. We feel like the one that we are making in our salaries is not enough. And in most cases, when we start fixing our finances, we are drowning in debt, we are swimming, we are barely making it. And so we feel like we need to make more money. But then we get to a point whereby we obsess about the part of making more money, and thus we make bad decisions. I remember for me, when I started being intentional with my finances and I started talking to people, watching content, and reading books, reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that book left me feeling like, what? You have a long way to go. You are not doing enough. And thus I found myself committing to things such as crypto without understanding what I was getting myself into. And I lost money that I was not prepared to lose because I was obsessed about making money. And the worst part is, when it comes to these things, when you start obsessing about making money, more money, you obsess about making money quickly. Even your mind is like, you do not understand the part whereby you have to be investing and must be long term. No, when you put money today, you want the results tomorrow. You want the results now. And when there are no results, it feels like that thing is not working. And so I found myself investing more crypto. Crypto came, put in money there that I was not willing to lose. I even convinced my mother to invest into crypto through my account. And then because she also didn't understand investing, doesn't understand how crypto works, she actually expected to get all of her money as it is whenever she wanted it. Kandi, investing doesn't work like that. You put money today, but tomorrow the market may be down, which means that the value of your money would have gone down. But if a person doesn't understand how investing works, they expect that if I put 2,000 today, tomorrow, if I want it, I must get 2,000. Actually, it must be more. And so when you tell them that, no, actually the value has went down, it's like you've robbed them of something. What many of you guys got yourself into is things such as trading, because you have been convinced by people who have sold you a lie, because they are using this idea of people wanting quick results, but also money quickly. And so they then pitch these ideas in a form of, if you put your money in here, this is what you can expect. And they're selling you lies. And so you find yourself having to take your last money, your last hard-earned money, to put into this thing. You take your money that you're supposed to be using to pay your rent or paying your bond, with hopes that it's going to double. And then that money will then allow you to cover other things on top of your bond or on top of your rent. And that doesn't happen. And then you find yourself having to go back and dig into debt more and more. That is how most of us, we find ourselves going back into debt more and more, even when we are being intentional in fixing our finances. But because we become prey of wanting quick results, of wanting quick cash, and more cash fast, the obsession of making more money fast, we then fall prey to all of these things. We fall prey to crypto, we fall prey to trading, we fall prey to all of these things such as the pyramid schemes, because we are so driven, or we are so focused in making more money. Because in our minds, and honestly, in our minds, it comes from, we need to catch up. We need to do more. In order for us to fix our financial problems, we think that we need to get more money now instead of fixing the foundation. And so with that being said, I wanted to highlight these 2 points to say, be careful. As you are working on your finances, as you're working on just exiting the first phase of living paycheck to paycheck, always being stressed about your finances, you need to be careful. You need to be careful with the things that you expose yourself in. You need to apply your mind. As you are consuming the content, please make sure that you take time to apply your mind. Even when you go and you consult a financial advisor, it is very important that you go there fully informed and you apply your mind. Otherwise, you'll find yourself getting into something that you had no intention of getting into. You might find yourself being under debt review and not even understanding what you got yourself into, because you have dug yourself through a hole as you're trying to paddle out. But in your attempt to paddle out of this hole that you have found yourself in, you make more and more mistakes that make it hard for you to get out. And so when I think about my finances, if I had not taken time to actually just relax, be practical, acknowledge where I was, acknowledge the mistakes that I've made, start fixing the foundation, I don't think I'll be where I am. I don't think I will be in a position whereby each month I'm able to save over 10,000. I wouldn't be in this position. I wouldn't be, because I would have neglected the things that actually would have allowed me to get here. I would have focused on the things that were not going to propel me forward. And what are those things, you guys? What are those things that you need to be focusing on? You need to focus firstly on understanding where your money is going. That is the first phase. You need to understand where is your money going, and you understand that by doing your budget. And then when you get paid, sitting down and making sure that your money is indeed going there. Secondly, is not jumping the gun. Yes, they say that you need to pay yourself first and do all of those things. But if that is not where you are right now in your finances, chill. Fix your finances first. Deal with that debt that is keeping you up at night. Deal with that debt that is taking majority of your money, and thus you feel like you're working backwards. You cannot be saying that you are in a debt whereby you are being charged interest of over 20-something%, but then at the same time you are stretching yourself in making sure that you are also paying yourself first by saving, and also getting into investments. But at the same time, you have these debts that are charging you an interest of over 20%. And I'm saying this from experience as well. There was a point in my life where I had personal loans, I had credit cards. My credit card was charging me over 20-something%. My personal loan was, eventually it got down to about 12%, but I had started from 18 or 19% when I started with that personal loan. And at the same time, I was also trying to pay myself first, because I had read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I had been consuming a lot of financial content, and so I knew the importance of saving, but I was saving in a wrong sequence. I was doing everything in the wrong sequence. Instead of dealing with the things that were taking away money from me so that I can have more money to put back into savings, no, I was still trying to deal with savings. I was still trying to deal with my debt by paying the minimum, but then at the same time trying to save on the side. And then what will happen is I'll end up going back into those savings. 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, I'll go back into those savings. I will be using those savings. I started using my credit card to pay for another credit card. You see, that I was digging myself into a deeper hole with an intention of I'm fixing my finances. But because I wasn't willing to do the basics, and the basics, guys, is understand where your money is going, budget. Secondly, deal with the debts that are causing a problem in your life. If you can spare 500 rands, rather use that 500 rands to deal with that credit card, to deal with that personal loan that you have. Because so long as you have that credit card that is charging you over 20-something%, and you're still trying to save 500 rand here, just know that you're working backwards. Know that you're working backwards, because it's highly likely that as you're having that credit card that you're struggling to pay for, the personal loan that you're struggling to pay for, at the same time, that saving that you're saying you're putting away, lomholiswane that you are playing and you're putting away 500 rands, or you are doing 1,000, this time around it's 1,000 for you, it's 1,000 from someone else. By the time that money comes to you, so it's your turn, you find that money goes away, you don't even know what you have used it on. Because why? You are in a hamster wheel, you are in a merry-go-round, you are doing one thing over and over again, but busy convincing yourself that you are doing better, because you are now following the financial advice that is out there that you need to be paying yourself first. And that is why I started with that video, to say, if you are going to be fixing your finances, then start with the groundworks. Deal with the problem areas first. The problem is not that you're not saving. That's not the problem right now. If you are battling with your finances, no. The problem is not that you are not saving. The problem is deeper than that you are not saving. The problem is that you are living above your means. Why are you living above your means? What is the cause for you to live above your means? Okay, how do we fix that? We fix that by getting you out of that. We fix that by dealing with the debts that are taking away your resources. Then once we have done that, at least once we have eliminated one or two of your debts, then we can start thinking about, okay, let me now start paying myself. Let me now start putting money away so that I can protect myself from getting into more debt. And so for me, I had to be honest with myself to say, hey, Jen, no, you can't be saying you're investing on easy equities, but at the same time, 2 months down the line, you're going back to that money that you have put on easy equities. You are withdrawing it, you are using it because now you need that money. You can't be saying you're investing on crypto, but then when things go south, you're now going back into that investment on crypto, even when it's on a negative, but it doesn't matter to you because you just need the money. Clearly, there's a problem here, and the problem is you are living above your means, Jen. You are living above your means. Let us start dealing with these debts. And so I started tackling my debts one by one, to a point whereby I started feeling like my money was being freed. That is why now I'm able to save at the rate that I'm able to save, because I actually took time to say, Jen, be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. As much as you are intentional in wanting to save and look and be doing all of these things that these financial advisors or these financial books are saying, you are not there yet. You are not there. Let us fix the foundation. Let us learn to budget. Okay, now that we have budgeted, let us learn to stick to our budget. Okay, but I'm realizing that even though I'm setting a budget, I'm still struggling to stick within my budget. I'm still finding myself going back. I still find myself going back into debt, going back into my credit card and digging into that. Why? You have a lot of debt. Your debt is just a lot, and thus it is eating away on your resources. Okay, fine. Let us fix this debt. Let us pay off this debt. What can I do to pay off this debt? And that is why on my website, I have a debt payment guide, a debt payment plan, which comes with the guide as well as a template that you can follow to create a debt repayment plan. Because those are things that I had to go back to and do. And that's when I started paying off my debt. That is when I could start saying, you know what? It is time for you to save now, my dear. It is time for you to start saving and investing. And now when I invest and I save money that I know I'm not going to need in 2 months' time. I save money that I can completely forget about. When I look at my easy equities now, and I'm just like, it's amazing that this is me who can sit with so much money and not have to worry about, oh, I need to withdraw, or the urge to say, oh, I've gained maybe 2,000 on this portfolio. Let me withdraw because I've made some profits, because that's what I used to do. The moment I say, oh, I've made 500 rands, let me withdraw. No, because now we understand that investing is for long term, saving is for short term, and so we categorize things. But because we have also created a foundation that allows me to do that without having to strain my day-to-day needs, with me making sure that my monthly needs are taken care of. So that is the point of this video. The point of today's video is just to say, let us build the groundwork. Let us be careful of some of the mistakes that we are likely to make as we are fixing our finances. Let us pace ourselves. If you see that you are honestly struggling with some of the things that are being spoken about in finances, that means that there's a deeper problem. Deal with that problem before you can advance to other things. With that being said, I'm going to close off this video today. I'm going to close off this video now. I'm hoping that it was helpful and insightful for you guys. And if you have any questions, any comments, please leave them down on the comment section below. Let us engage further with some of the mistakes that you have made, whether before you learned about finances or now that you know more about finances. What are some of the mistakes that you have made that you feel like, hey, Lapaya, I messed up, I messed up big time. With that being said, I'll see you guys on the next one. Please take care and stay safe. Bye.